The last spell is a roguelike strategy RPG that has you defending your base from oncoming hordes of enemies, zombies, mythical creatures, and the like. Basically, you have to defend this mage who is conducting the last spell, and they really do not hold anything back from the music, the animations, the design, and every single bit of combat. You're going to be hooked from the moment you start. So let's get into it. So the last spell throws us right into the combat, right after the story introduction, and it is absolutely intense. There's a few phases throughout the game, and it's basically a preparation phase, a building phase, and then the defending phase. And the defending phase is basically your 3+ units, I should say, defending against hordes and hordes of zombies. And it feels like there are these endless demonic entities, zombies, harpies, mythological creatures. And at the end of every night, you reap the rewards of all the destruction that you cause to defend your land. Now, let's go through every single phase. So the defense phase, pretty self-explanatory. You bolster up your defenses, you could build buildings, and from there, everything has its own passives. So let's say you build a shrine, and that shrine is going to give you more mana or more health, those things like that. Or you build gold, like a gold ore, gold mining, you reap more gold at the end of every single night. So basically, during the day, you're building up, defending yourself, putting up defenses such as like barricades, reinforcing your walls, putting up doors to stop them from coming in. And at night, you're fighting these demons. But don't worry, your random civilians are outfitted with some of the most insane weaponry that you've ever seen. Now, they're blessed with all of the magical abilities that you can even imagine. The warrior, you give him a sword or a hammer, and he is going to be smashing his way. First of all, the hammer is probably one of my favorite things. He smashes his way through everything. And I always got a little nervous about putting him up in the front lines. Nah, you shouldn't be. That man is clobbering time. He might as well be Thor from Marvel as he's smashing his way through hordes of zombies. One of my personal favorites, the mage, whether it be using a wand or your book, they are nuking the field. The book gives you extra range, which I absolutely love, but it does use a lot more mana, while the wand is more so like a support, healing, giving a little bit more extra turns. You could donate basically your turn to another companion and just go from there, but the animations look great, the effects are incredible, and then, the archer, which I also love, using long bows, short bows, and they dish out some insane damage. They basically switch their bow to like a shotgun, close range. They can do a wide range of attacks and basically just destroy the field. This game is about just completely annihilating the field. You're gonna have the craziest metal track, and you're gonna be nuking. You're gonna be blowing shit up, and that's basically what the game is. And there is like the roguelike element to it, where after every single night, you basically get these dark essence, and the dark essence can be used to upgrade and get more items. Like between each run, more items will become available in the shop. You re-roll items in the shop, and so on and so forth, stuff like that. And then the light, basically, like the light side of things, is basically just completing objectives, surviving for X amount of time, getting a certain amount of actions with a certain weapon will unlock more weapons or more buildings, things like that. And it's really straightforward, and the replayability is really high. But something I did notice is that going through, even like the first mission, it took me like 3 hours, like 2-3 hours to get through, and it was intensely hard. And even like the final boss segment of it, where I didn't even realize, it was like, oh, just defeat the final boss and like all the enemies will die because it's gonna be an endless wave of enemies. I was like, okay, whatever. So after like a couple turns, the boss comes down. I'm like, oh, it's a harpy. Kill the harpy in like one turn, right? And like it's not over. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, well, what's the problem here? There's more than one harpy, and so we're waiting for the other harpy to spawn, the other harpies, plural, to spawn, and it's like, oh my god, like, can I even survive this? But we lock in. Our whole team just gets in there. We're smashing shit down. We're moving around. I had to relocate. Had a party of 4. Had to relocate some people. But all in all, 2 archers, a mage, and a warrior, cracked. Absolutely insane. So a real standout for me in this game is the animation. The animations are crazy. They are so weighted, they feel so heavy, and you really feel every single bit of an action that you do. Whether it be with the sword, it's quick, flashy. You are going through enemies, very anime-esque style, like, what's his name from Devil May Cry, slashing through, Virgil from Devil May Cry slashing through and just like, everyone dying. Crazy shit. Hammer, same thing. You're slamming that shit down. Good AoE, great defense, slapping guys through. Insane. Same goes for the mage. Nuking from across the field. Fireballs. Chain lightning. Connecting. Debuffing your enemies. Pure insanity. Archer, shooting, and shooting. Hail of arrows. Hailstorm. And I personally, I love the mage, but damn, something about the archer just felt so satisfying when you like land a perfect crit or like a massive crit and it just knocks out a bunch of enemies. Completely amazing. Great feeling. And then after all of that is said and done, you have the phase where basically, oh, you reap the rewards. So you can either basically like salvage their remains for some essence and gold, or essence and resources, or you could do the same with the broken buildings, any destroyed buildings. You could take them and basically get some money from them, or some stone resources, just so you could build up your defenses, or buy more pieces of your town to help upgrade your units. And that's also another important thing is, and I didn't even realize it until later on, was building all these units, like building all these bases and then building up from there and just upgrading them and upgrading every little bit of the way, just for like the passive bonuses, like more mana, which is something that you really need. You run out of mana so quick, especially when you're like dishing out and you're kind of basically closed off, or you're in like a pretty tight clinch. You definitely want a ton of mana, because that's going to be your real bread and butter. The warrior really didn't have a mana issue, is something that I noticed, but the archer definitely ran out of mana really quick, and same with the mage, obviously, even though the mage had a massive mana pool. And then that leads me to the next thing, is the skill tree. So the skill tree is really interesting. Each unit has a different one, and it just bleeds into basically like a fighter focus, magic focus, ranger focus, and then basically universal focuses. And each one, it's basically like just a talent pool. Each one bleeds into something else, and like the more talents you have, and it just unlocks the next level. Really interesting, and adds like a lot of dynamic and replayability that will kind of just always give you something different. And also you can even challenge yourself a little bit with it by, oh, get less health, but you do insane crits, you get lifesteal, stuff like that. And then obviously the leveling up system is completely random. You basically get, I believe it's 5 or 6 options to start off, and then it's like, oh, more health, more base damage, or basically isolation damage, and things like that. And it's really interesting, all the little stats that they have that all come together. Mana regeneration at the end of the day, mana regeneration, total mana, how much you get of each of it. Same thing with health, defense, armor regeneration, or sorry, not armor regeneration, health regeneration, and things like that. So it all blends together in this really fun, unique system that I can't find any flaws with. Granted, I only played, again, for like 4 or 5 hours, but the first intro sequence is really catching, and I just want to beat the entire game now. I know that they recently released a DLC, so probably that might be something I want to check out, maybe do like a long play of it, but who knows. But I just had to get on here and talk about the last spell, because it blew me away with the magic system, the music, the metal it kept me going, and I just completely lost track of time. So if this is the type of game that you really like, this roguelike style game of base building, base management, and just defending rather than just attacking, definitely check it out. I'll have it linked below, and let me know if you know any other roguelike strategy RPGs, any roguelike tactics games that you want me to check out or that you really enjoy, and I'll check it out. So, but that's all I have for you guys today. So like and subscribe, do you guys do best, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And if you guys made it this far, I'm going to leave you with a little something fun. It'll be the final segment of the Harpy boss fight. So if you want to see how this plays out and how intense it could get, stick around and watch. See you guys.